You can't just do things without HOA approval. That's what she hissed at me the first time we met. Clipboard in hand, lips pursed like she'd swallowed a lemon whole. I hadn't even finished hanging the projector screen. But let me take you back a little. I didn't move to Maple Hollow to fight with anyone. I moved here for peace. And yeah, maybe a little backyard magic under the stars. If you believe people should be able to enjoy life without someone trying to ruin it, stick around and hit that subscribe button. You won't believe how this night ended. 3 months ago, I closed on a house I never thought I'd afford. Quiet street, big trees, neighbors who waved when you pulled in. That kind of place. After 6 years in a cramped apartment where you could hear every sneeze from 2 floors down, this place felt like a different planet. My name's Alex, I'm 34, and I work in IT, which mostly means I sit in my home office arguing with printers and pretending to care about Wi-Fi speeds. From the moment I saw the backyard, I had a vision. Not a pool, not a garden, a backyard cinema, a real one. Projector, screen, foldable chairs, soft lights strung up like fireflies. I wanted to invite friends, maybe the neighbors, show old movies with popcorn and cold drinks. Something simple, something that brought people together. 2 weeks after moving in, I had everything I needed. I hung a white screen between 2 trees, tested the projector on my garage wall, and bought those little yellow fairy lights that make everything feel like a memory. Friday night was going to be the first showing, The Princess Bride. Call me sentimental. I printed a few flyers and dropped them in mailboxes just on my block. Nothing fancy, just a friendly invite, BYO blanket. That evening, as the sky turned to honey and the lights blinked to life, a few people trickled in. Some older couples, a single mom with 2 kids, a guy named Jamal who brought beer and didn't ask if he could. I liked that. The movie started. Laughter rose with the stars. It was working, the idea, the atmosphere, everything, until she showed up. She didn't sit, didn't even look at the screen, just stood at the edge of my property watching. Clipboard clutched to her chest like it was armor. Blonde bob, tight cardigan, name tag. HOA President, Mary Thornhill. I didn't notice her until halfway through the sword fight scene. She called out my name. Not my name, the name on the mailbox. Alexander Hartman? I walked over, thinking maybe she had a question. Maybe she liked movies too. Nope. This gathering violates HOA Regulation 14B. You didn't file a community event permit. You didn't notify the board. There's amplified sound after 8 p.m. You can't just do things. I blinked. It's my backyard. It's a movie. She looked past me, disgusted. It's a nuisance. It sets a precedent. It's a liability. And then she left. No goodbye, no smile. Just that lingering, sour look like I'd tracked mud into her perfect white foyer. The movie ended on a high note. People clapped. One of the kids asked when the next showing would be. I said, next Friday, same time. Everyone seemed happy, but something in my gut told me that wasn't going to fly. Monday morning, a letter slid through my mail slot. Subject, unapproved event violation, formal notice, 3 pages, legal language, a highlighted section that referenced fines, a threat to report me to community compliance enforcement if I hosted another unpermitted event. It was signed, of course, Mary Thornhill, HOA President. I reread the letter 3 times. The thing that stuck with me? The phrase, your unauthorized use of communal airspace. What the hell did that even mean? I called the HOA office, left a voicemail, called again. No answer. The next Friday, I canceled the movie, just in case. It rained anyway, which made it easier. But the silence felt heavier than I expected, like Mary had won something. Over the next week, neighbors started stopping me during walks. Hey, that movie night was great. Why'd you stop? I was going to bring my grandkids next time. You should keep doing it. We liked it. I told them about the letter. Most just rolled their eyes. A few nodded like they'd been through it before. Then Jamal, the beer guy, said something that stuck. Dude, you got something good here. That woman's whole personality is no. Don't let her kill the vibe. I didn't say anything at the time, but I went home, turned on my laptop, and started typing. If Mary wanted a fight, Maybe it was time to give her one she wouldn't forget. Over the next week, I decided to find out exactly who was on my side. I printed out a simple one-question survey. Do you support free backyard movie nights at house number 17? Just a yes or no. I made 30 copies, clipped a pen to a cardboard box, and taped a sign that read, Neighborhood Feedback Anonymous. Friday morning, I set the whole thing on a small table outside my fence and went to work. By the time I got home, the box was full. All 30 slips had a yes scrawled on them. Some had messages scribbled in the margins. Such a great idea. My kids had a blast. Don't let her ruin what makes this place feel like home. It should have made me feel better. It did. But the warmth didn't last. That night, I got another letter, this time via email. An official PDF stamped with the HOA logo. It was a formal warning. Not just a complaint this time, but a legal document citing multiple disturbances and failure to obtain public gathering permits. They accused me of hosting unsanctioned mass events and claimed my setup posed a safety risk due to lack of fire code compliance and controlled egress. They were threatening a fine, $250 for every future violation. No more warnings. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about noise. It wasn't about rules. It was about control. Mary wanted to make an example of me. She wanted the entire neighborhood to see what happened when someone colored outside her carefully drawn lines. I almost folded. Almost. But then I got a text. Hey, it's Laura from down on Sycamore. I work with the city council. Just so you know, Mary isn't technically allowed to fine residents directly. And those letters? Most of them don't hold legal ground unless it goes through a vote. Let me know if you want to talk. That message flipped a switch. This wasn't some faceless bureaucracy. This was one woman abusing a position she was barely qualified to hold. And if she wanted to flex her authority, then maybe it was time I gave her something worth flexing about. I sat down and pulled out a notebook. No more just trying to get by. I was going to escalate, not by fighting, by inviting. The plan was simple. If they said I couldn't have private movie nights, then I'd make them public. If they said I was excluding people, then I'd invite everyone. No more backyard exclusivity. This was going to be a community event, open, free, and loud. The new flyers were bold. Maple Hollow Open Air Cinema, everyone welcome, big letters, clean design, and in the bottom right corner, this Friday, a special collection of Karen memes. You won't believe the first one. I dropped them in every mailbox on the block. And for good measure, I left one in the HOA suggestion box taped shut with a bright red sticker. To Mary. That whole week I prepped like it was a film festival. Bought extra folding chairs, upgraded the projector bulb, rewired the sound system so it would reach the far end of the lawn. A few neighbors dropped by to help set up. Jamal brought extension cords. Laura printed a banner. By Friday afternoon, you could feel the buzz. Blankets were spread across lawns. Kids ran around with glow sticks. Someone brought a popcorn machine. It smelled like a carnival. And then, just as the sun slipped behind the rooftops and the crowd settled in, I hit play. The screen lit up. Title card, Top 10 Karen Meltdowns Caught on Camera. The crowd roared. By the time video number 3 rolled, a woman screaming about a dog that looked aggressive while it was wearing a birthday hat. People were laughing so hard I thought someone might choke. And that's when she showed up. Mary Thornhill, storming down the sidewalk like a hurricane in beige slacks, clipboard under one arm, phone recording in the other. She shoved through the crowd yelling, "This is unauthorized. This is harassment. Turn that off right now." Someone yelled, "You're on the list, Mary." And the crowd lost it. Phones went up. Cameras clicked. She was yelling, flailing, trying to cover her face. But it was too late. This wasn't her turf anymore. And I just stood there behind the projector, arms folded, watching the show. By the next morning, the video was everywhere. Someone had uploaded it to a local Facebook group before the credits had even rolled. By sunrise, it had over 6,000 views. By noon, it was making the rounds on Reddit under the title, HOA Karen Loses It at Public Movie Night. Guess what was on screen? It wasn't just funny, it was undeniable. The yelling, the threats, the way she tried to block the screen with her clipboard while shouting, "This is a violation of personal dignity." It was all there. And what really sealed it was the crowd. Calm, respectful, not even rude, just amused, united. People saw the contrast, and they chose a side. That weekend, my mailbox was stuffed, not with warnings, with thank you notes. One from an older man named Dennis said, "I haven't laughed that hard in years. Please keep doing this. She's been terrorizing this street since '09." Another came with a $20 bill and just said, "For snacks." But not everything was flowers and candy. On Monday morning, I got an email from Mary. Not a letter, not a printed threat, just a short clipped email with the subject line, HOA emergency meeting, motion for a formal complaint. She called for a vote. Her goal was clear: shut the movie nights down permanently. Not because they broke rules, because they humiliated her. The meeting was scheduled for Thursday evening at the community center, open to all homeowners. And for the first time since I moved in, I realized that might actually mean something. That week I knocked on doors. I shook hands, I listened. Turns out I wasn't the only one. Mary had been ruling with a tight grip for years, fining people for mailbox height, sending cease and desists over flower colors, writing citations for basketball hoops. Everyone had a story. They just didn't think they could do anything. Until now. Thursday night came. The room was packed, folding chairs along the wall, people standing in the back. A low hum of tension filled the air. Mary stood at the front, stiff-backed, tight-jawed, clipboard in place. She read her complaint. Resident Alexander Hartman has repeatedly violated HOA standards, disrupted community peace, and hosted targeted public events designed to shame and mock. She said the word targeted like it had claws. Then she opened the floor. I stood, and I said just one thing. If bringing people together on my own lawn to laugh, connect, and feel like neighbors again is a violation, then maybe the violation isn't mine. Then I stepped back. What followed wasn't a debate. It was a flood. Person after person stood up, some shy, some furious, all with stories, all with names, dates, receipts. The vote wasn't even close. Mary was removed as HOA president by a margin so wide it didn't need to be counted twice. She walked out without a word. No clipboard. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from the HOA, this time from the interim president, a guy named Rick who wore socks with sandals and waved at everyone. The letter read, "Your events are officially considered community gatherings. No fines will be issued. Just don't show horror movies on school nights." I framed that letter. The following Friday, we played Shrek. Popcorn was free. Kids made posters. Laura brought lemonade. And Jamal, he brought beer. I'll never forget that night. There was something in the air. Not just the smell of popcorn and grass, but something real. Lighter. Like the whole neighborhood had exhaled for the first time in years. People waved to each other like they meant it. Strangers struck up conversations about favorite childhood movies. A kid handed me a crayon drawing of the screen with stick figures watching together. He'd written Cinema Man in bright red above my head. That drawing's still on my fridge. But as much as I wanted to move on, to just focus on movie nights and good vibes, the story wasn't quite over. Mary hadn't vanished. She still lived 2 houses down. And while she no longer held power, she still had opinions and binoculars. I'd catch her sometimes peeking from behind her curtain like a rejected extra from Rear Window. She didn't say anything, didn't wave, but she watched. And honestly, that was fine by me. The point wasn't revenge, it was community. In the weeks that followed, the backyard cinema turned into something bigger than I'd ever planned. Word spread beyond Maple Hollow. People from the next neighborhood over started coming by. I built a website, just a simple landing page with movie times and a place to sign up for text reminders. I even added a donation link. Didn't expect much. But after the next movie night, someone donated $200 with the note, "You're doing more for this town than the HOA ever did." A woman named Grace, early 60s, ran the church bake sale, started bringing cookies every Friday. One of the local high school kids offered to run the soundboard in exchange for internship credit. It was working, really working. Then one day something happened I hadn't expected. Rick, the new HOA interim president, showed up on my doorstep. He held a mug of coffee and looked kind of nervous. "Hey," he said, "mind if I ask a favor?" I laughed. "Depends." He scratched his head. "We've got a lot of new people showing up. And honestly, they're asking when the next showing is like it's a real event. Some of them want to help. We were thinking, if you're up for it, we could list it as an official community program." I stared at him. "You mean, like endorsed by the HOA? He nodded. "Why not? You already fixed half the stuff we couldn't. People know each other now. They look forward to Fridays again." I didn't answer right away. There was part of me that bristled at the idea, after everything they'd done, after Mary. But then I thought about the drawing on my fridge, the families in lawn chairs, the kids quoting Shrek at full volume. "Okay," I said. "On one condition." Rick raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" "No clipboards allowed." He laughed. "Deal." And so the backyard cinema became official. We added movie polls to the HOA newsletter, created a rotating snack schedule. Someone even built a little wooden stand with the words Maple Hollow Movie Nights carved into the front. I kept the screen, kept the fairy lights, and kept the opening night tradition alive. Every first Friday of the month, before the main feature, we still show Karen memes. Not out of spite, but as a reminder that power isn't about who has the loudest rules. It's about who creates space for people to laugh together. Last week I saw Mary again. She was walking her dog, the yappy one that always barked at squirrels. We made eye contact, and for the first time since it all started, she nodded. Not a wave, not a smile, just a small, quiet nod. It was enough. Sometimes that's all the peace you need. ChatGPT Skazal, the first anniversary of Maple Hollow Movie Nights came faster than I expected. 1 year since the first screening, 1 year since Mary tried to shut it all down, 1 year since this quiet little street turned into something more than just fences and trimmed hedges. I wanted to do something special, not over the top, just meaningful. So I made a plan. I reached out to everyone on the mailing list, asked them to submit one thing, their favorite moment from the past year of movie nights. Could be a memory, a quote, a photo, anything. By the end of the week, my inbox was overflowing. One dad sent a photo of his daughter asleep in his lap during Finding Nemo. A teenage couple wrote about how their first date was under my fairy lights. Someone sent a blurry phone video of Mary mid-scream during our first meme night, captioned, "A classic." It hit me harder than I thought it would. These weren't just funny videos or movie recaps. These were lives. Lives being lived better, together. So for our anniversary night, I did something new. Before the movie, I played a short montage. Photos, clips, quotes, a highlight reel of what we become. Kids on blankets, laughter under the stars, popcorn in every shot. Faces I didn't even know last year, now familiar like family. And when the video ended, the crowd clapped. Not polite applause, not out of habit, but real soul-deep clapping. Because this wasn't just mine anymore. It was ours. After the movie, Jamal raised a toast, from a solo cup, of course, to Alex, for proving that sometimes all it takes is a screen, a lawn, and one guy crazy enough not to quit. They cheered. I stood there under the lights, heart full, not saying much. What do you say when you realize you accidentally built a piece of something permanent? Not just a cinema, a community. So if you're watching this, wherever you are, maybe you've got your own Mary, your own HOA, your own voice telling you, you can't just do things. Ignore it. Hang the lights. Play the movie. Invite the neighbors. It might start with a laugh, but it could end in something you never expected. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. If this story made you smile, hit that like button. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We've got more stories to tell and more movies to play. I'll see you next Friday, same time, same place, under the stars.